It's a wild day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Wizards of the Coast just got caught making secret changes to the 30th anniversary website as well as secret layers. On top of that, we got a little bit of an inside hint at what's coming for Brothers War in terms of a mechanic. And on top of all that, Mark Rosewater is out there getting Magic players all riled up.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The Magic Historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we are here for an absolutely nutty installment of Mega Magic News. We have multiple secrets from Wizards of the Coast. We have Mark Rosewater riling up Magic players. It is a crazy time to be involved with this game, and it's a lot of fun as well, I gotta say, just seeing it from the outside. So, Wizards secrets are both good and bad in this case. So let's start out with the good secret in case you need a little bit of that goodness. It looks like the Brothers War is going to feature the Surveil mechanic. And we can safely say this because Wizards secretly went and changed the wording of a whole bunch of Magic cards without telling anybody. Now, they'll tell us when the Brothers War comes out. They'll release notes and say, hey, here's all the changes we've made. But it's already been uncovered that that change has happened. If you go and look in Gatherer, any ability that worked just like Surveil, which is the ability that says, look at the top card of your deck, you either put it back on top of your deck or put it into your graveyard. And there were cards that came out and people would come to me and say, bro, this is Surveil, isn't it? Why aren't they calling it Surveil? And that's a very good question. So they've decided Surveil will now be a deciduous mechanic. If you don't know what that means, evergreen mechanics are things you can see in every single set. First Strike, flying, the abilities you would be astounded to not see in a set. Whereas deciduous are ones that you can see with regularity and aren't just tied to a particular world or a particular set. And up until this point, Surveil was actually only tied to the world of Ravnica. So that is an interesting discovery. And as an add-on to that, technically landfall is becoming a bigger thing too, but landfall isn't exactly a keyword, right? It's not really a mechanic. It's just like a reminder word that says when lands come out, do this. But they are retroactively changing it so that landfall is the ability for when you put out lands. And that makes perfect sense, right? Like that is a solid concept and a nice let's clean up the rules. Like basically when they brought mill into the game. That's great. It's so much tighter. So this falls into the category of minor rules changes, stuff like that. A little bit of Oracle updating, clean up, sweeping up the goodness. But we go into the next secret, and this is not good. This is Wizards of the Coast going, okay, we need to change our approach. And on one hand, I am not surprised to see them do this. I'm more surprised they didn't decide to do this already. Now, this is an event where basically they go to the 30th anniversary website and they start making changes secretly. It's just like, let's just go ahead and delete this little bit right here. That's all they just went ahead and just removed a little bit from the website. And you might think to yourself, well, what could they remove that would make a big difference? Well, the event that's happening is happening in Las Vegas. Wizards of the Coast says, well, everybody can't come out to these events. What are we going to do? We will create something called the Festival in a Box, which I think is a really neat idea. You can't come to our event, but you want the secret layer or the other little knickknacks that you get for going to the event. You can have everything but the actual experience of being there. That is a solid concept, right? So Wizards of the Coast put the orders up for these festivals in a box, and they sold out pretty quickly, right? Like they sold out pretty fast. And you think to yourself, okay, like if you sell them out at a certain rate, that means they're not a print to order thing. This isn't like Secret Lair where anybody could order as many as they want. This is a set product they're creating. So they fill out the orders or whatever, and then a crazy thing happened a few days ago. People noticed, like, wait a minute, hold on. Why didn't I get an email on October 14th? Because the website, like, take a look at this image up on the screen, friends. You will see that it says October 14th, right? Now, this doesn't mean you'll have it in your hands October 14th. Honestly, any logical, reasonable person who looks at this is just going to go, okay, on the 14th, that's when this is going to be put into the mail, enter the shipping process. You'll start to put it in the box and ship it. So what happens on the 14th? Nothing. Nobody hears anything. What happens on the 15th? Nothing. Nobody hears anything. And it just kind of goes like that. And then you go back and you look at the website and you're like, hey, wait a minute. Wait, when I click on this, hey, the date's gone. They just removed the date. They didn't send out an email saying to people, hey, we're shipping this. They didn't say, hey, we have a delay. Apparently what happened is they looked at what happened with the heads I win, tails you lose commander deck and went, whoa, look at all the people who are freaking out about these dates and whatever and how long it's taken to deliver it. And we can't really deliver these things. So what if we just secretly delete all these dates and hope that people don't notice and won't complain? That's the only thing that I can think has happened here. Now, I didn't dig deeper into this, but there are people saying the same thing is going on with secret layers as well, and that if you go back over all the secret layer information, now I don't have inside access to that because I haven't ordered secret layers, so I can only get to the peripheral outside site, so without any images or stuff like that to back it up. I don't 100% know if it's going on with the secret layers, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if Wizards is just like, from now on, we're just not going to post delivery dates on these. If this is just going forwards, we're just not going to give delivery dates because you don't have to tell people there'll be a delay if you never told them when they're getting it in the first place. So this to me is so incredibly underhanded to do this. It's just like, hey, guess what? We know we said we were going to send it out, but instead of telling you that your product is delayed, instead of having the courtesy to you as a customer to celebrate our 30th anniversary, we are going to quietly delete what we told you would be when we send these out. Like, this is so gross. And honestly, it's peak current era Wizards of the Coast. This is how they operate. With the 30th anniversary, you literally have some people talking about how they didn't get contacted to get the rights for the art that Wizards is using. They don't care about anything but getting your dollars. And if they already have your dollars, I feel like it's turning into the video game pre-order industry where it's like, we're going to take your money in advance. We don't care when we get you the product. We don't care how you get the product. We don't care the quality the product is delivered to you in. This is bad for the health of the game. People will just say, hey, people can buy whatever they want. I don't know why you're worked up about this. I don't know why you care. Because these decisions compound upon themselves, friends, okay? There's a lot of people who don't bang the drum when they're mad about something. You know what they do? They quietly leave. For all the people who get worked up about me going on about the problems of the game and shining a flashlight down into the dark crevices and all that, somebody needs to do it. Wizards of the Coast isn't going to fix things out of the goodness of their heart. They're only going to fix things in two ways. You either have to go, hey, fix it, or their business has to slump horrifically and start to fail to the point where they scramble to fix it. And ideally, we won't have to deal with that because I love Magic. I want Magic to thrive forever, okay? That is why I talk about these issues. We have to get the bad blood out. You gotta let it out, right? So Wizards of the Coast is out of their minds with this. Why would you choose to go the route of, hey, we told you we were going to ship it on the 14th. Now it's just like, hey, when are you shipping it? It's like, what are you doing? You can't just turn your back and not answer your customers. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. Now, on a fun note, the 30th anniversary stuff, as a little snubbing, tweaking people's nose scenario, there is a Swedish LGS that has created 30th anniversary Magic packs of their own. Here's the difference. You can get the same cards that Wizards of the Coast is selling in their 30th anniversary non-official Magic box in these packs, except they're all actual, genuine Magic cards. And guess what the price tag is? Exactly the same as the 30th anniversary. So, I mean, that's funny to me. Somebody going, you know, I can literally just source the parts that already exist in the world and make this as a thing. That is an incredible little thumb in your nose back at Wizards, right? Now, let's go from secret insanity to overt insanity and talk about Mark Rosewater not knowing how to handle the questions he's getting in this particular instance. Sometimes he handles the questions right, and sometimes it leads to a firestorm. And this is actually about The Walking Dead. We're going all the way back to the first secret lair, right? So, somebody asks Rosewater, The Walking Dead secret lair being the best-selling secret lair is such a poor argument that it hurts every time you use it as a criticism against greed. So basically what's going on is people are saying that the Walking Dead secret lair was an incredibly greedy move on Wizards of the Coast's part. And it was. They went, we're going to make functionally unique cards, and that means you can't get them anywhere else. They're unique. They don't exist in any other form. You have to buy this, and you have a very limited window to do it, and you can only get it in the Walking Dead skin, right? So basically, Mark Rosewater's response is, we made a product that there was an audience that was interested in purchasing it. Why is this greed? So basically, it's like, yo, hold on, let me get this. I want you to apply this logic to other things. Hey, you know what? There's a market for people who want insulin. They need it to live, but there's a market for people who want insulin. So if I sell insulin for $1,000 a shot, why is that greed? Why is that? Yeah, no, I know insulin costs me pennies to produce like Magic Cardboard does. I know, I get that. But here's the thing. There's a market. There are rich people who have diabetes who will die without this. So there's a market that's interested in paying for this. So if there's someone interested in purchasing it, how is it greed? Like the insane disconnect. And I think what you have to remember is Mark Rosewater lives 2 years in the future from us. This is all normalized to him. The Walking Dead secret lair is nothing compared to what he's mired in right now. He's told us, you guys don't even know what's coming. You haven't seen most of Universes Beyond. You can't even judge it. Like, he's inside the company. And if at any point he had an issue with the Walking Dead secret lair, that issue is long gone, right? Like, he's full on in the Kool-Aid for the company. The idea that we made a product there was an audience that would buy it for. You can say the same thing about the 30th anniversary product. Well, how is it greedy to sell $250 booster packs of reprints of non-official Magic cards? There's an audience that wants to buy it. Like, it's so disconnected. It's absolutely wild. And actually, there's a follow-up where it says, I think when people describe the Walking Dead secret lair as greedy, and this is someone talking to Rosewater, they are mainly talking about deliberate exploitation of FOMO, fear of missing out. Exactly. The product was advertised as mechanically exclusive cards that could only be purchased for a very short period and then never again. While it was later announced that Magic-themed versions of these cards would eventually be made, this was only after the ability to purchase them was closed. And then he says, that's not true. I was very vocal on social media and especially on this blog before the product, and he put it in capitals, before the product was sold, that we promised the exclusivity was only on the Walking Dead versions of the card, and we would print Magic versions if the need arose. Like, really dissect what he's saying here. First of all, they were saying, we will reprint them if the need arises. That is not saying they will be available. That's telling you they probably won't be available unless you yell enough. But what's even crazier to me is when you really boil it down, his position is that I personally was vocal on my social media. So if you don't follow Mark Rosewater's social media specifically, then there is no problem with Wizards of the Coast marketing team. Like, remember, these are the guys who literally put out ads for both different double master sets that were literally like wrong. You couldn't get what it said. It's the advertising is wrong. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to advertise things that aren't in your product. You can't do that. It's literally illegal. Wizards of the Coast has done this a whole bunch of times. So to try and pretend that I have to go to Rosewater's blog and listen how vocal he is so that I will know that they are listening and they will reprint it if the need arises, to present that as an argument against the concept of the Walking Dead secret lair, of course it's greedy. Secret lair is an insanely greedy concept where Wizards went, we used to print packs and let the secondary market determine the value of the cards organically. But what if we just start selling singles directly into that market and hosing everybody? It's ridiculous. Secret lair is the epitome of Magic greed, all by itself as a product to begin with. And to pretend like the fact that you're yelling about it, it's like if I was to say, you know what? Because I've talked about these issues in this video, and because I'm loud about it, or I've done one or two other videos, Every Magic player needs to know it. Now, obviously, I don't have the presence of Mark Rosewater. I'm not trying to pretend I do. But still, in terms of most Magic players, they don't go and talk to Mark Rosewater in their little comments. They don't go read his posts. I bet the majority of casual Magic players don't even know who Rosewater is. So it's just crazy to me that you could be this disconnected and go, how is it greed to make a product that somebody would buy? Basically, as long as somebody pays the price tag, it's not greedy, is his argument, which is insane. It's absolutely insane, and it's a position you can only hold when your brain slowly changes over time, guys. You gotta understand, it's not like Rosewater went, okay, I'm like 100% on board with this. His brain just slowly changed because it had to. He wouldn't be able to do his job if he hated every aspect of what he was doing, if he thought it was greed or whatever. So his subconscious shifted. Think about yourself. Think about yourself 15 years ago. Are you the same? Nope. Can you tell when you changed? Nope. You only change. You can only see the change when you look back over a long enough timeline. So Rosewater doesn't even know how much he is like crazy out of his mind with this, but it's making people angry, and they have the right to be. Anyhow, that wraps up the news for today. Aside from this, my friends, the Brothers War is coming out in a few days. We're starting the spoiler season, not the actual set. Don't let me get you confused. But it's coming out soon. To understand what's going on with that story and that set, you're going to want to know the original Brothers War story. I've got the whole thing in video form for you. I'll tell you the whole story. It's awesome. Link on the screen. Go check it out. Thanks to all my patrons. You guys rule, and I'll see you all tomorrow.